Hello, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about what I love to talk about sometimes. What if? It is a big question that everyone asks, here and there. I call it a reality check. We all have it. It's like talking about the weather. It's like talking about, the local news. It's just what we do as human beings. We always love to reflect on our past, our regrets, our what ifs. And, it's a big topic. It's not really life and death, but it's a big topic that I think comes up that sometimes needs to be addressed. It's things that we don't think about. Just for starters, what happens if one of us invested in GameStop stock, right? It went up high, and we could have been rich. What if we would have bought Apple stock 20 years ago? What if we would have bought Amazon stock 15 years ago? Those are some stock references. How about all of us teenagers? What if I would have asked that girl out at that dance, but I was too chicken to? Would we be married today, right? There's just so many questions that we can sit here all day and just talk about, what if? What if I went and, didn't chicken out and did that in 7th grade or that in 9th grade? What if I would have studied for that test? What if I would have took my, grades more seriously? Maybe you're 35 years old or whatever. What if I would have took my college or high school more seriously? Maybe I wouldn't have this job. Maybe I'd be running a company. All these what if questions. And, something that pertains to you guys more is sports. Because this channel is sports, it's not about life. I mean, I do some life videos here and there, but, how about sports? What if Seattle ran the ball? That's pretty much football. What if that pass interference was called in the Rams Saints? Would Drew Brees then go on to beat the Patriots, and then Drew Brees' legacy is continued? What happens if the onside kick was not recovered by Seattle? Would Aaron Rodgers go on to beat Tom Brady, and in essence, would he have a better legacy than he does now? Don't get me wrong, Drew Brees and Tom Brady all are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but they only have one Super Bowl. If those events went their way, pass interference and a no onside kick, they might win their second Super Bowl, let alone go to their second Super Bowl, right? This goes many ways. What happens if the Browns never restarted back in 1999? People forget about that. The Browns are not a team, we had to literally restart back in the late 90s. So for some reason, the Browns left for Baltimore or whatever. I don't know the whole story, but what if we never restarted? And it's just what if John Elway never had his drive? Would his legacy still be the same today? What happens if the Browns never fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line in the AFC Championship back in 1986 and 87? There's so many what if questions. That's football. How about basketball? What if LeBron James never blocked Iguodala? What if Kyrie Irving never made that three-pointer? Would Kyrie Irving's legacy change? And it's just like baseball. I don't really know enough basketball to continue that. Well, there is one more basketball thing. What if Ray Allen never made that shot back in 2013, 2012, 2011? Down by 3, it's game 6, game 7, or I think game 6. The Spurs are up 3-2, and James or Bosh missed a three-pointer. A lucky rebound on offense. 5, 4, 3, 2. Ray Allen for the tie. Good, bang. As they say, bang, bullshit. And then literally it was a tie game. Miami Heat would go on to beat the Spurs back 7, 8 years ago, even 9 years ago, whatever. Would that change LeBron's career for one less title? Probably. So all these things we say, and last but not least, baseball. What if Rajai Davis never homered versus Chapman in the in the World Series? Would Chapman have a higher legacy? Would he be known as a better pitcher than today? Because Chapman is a top pitcher, but he blew it versus Altuve. He blew it against Rajai Davis, and it's just like he's been known to blow things. But if you take away that Rajay Davis, like what if he was dominant? Then his legacy changes in Chicago. So it's just like all these things, and it's just like, what if the St. Louis Cardinals never beat the Rangers back in 2011? The St. Louis Cardinals, this is the best story I've seen in my life. And I'm not going to go on a tangent about this, but some of you guys don't appreciate baseball like I do. I appreciate baseball. I'm not a diehard fan, but I appreciate it more than probably most of you for being NFL and NBA fans. So, literally, there's the World Series, Rangers versus the Cardinals, and literally the Cardinals, they were down to their final strike so many pitches. But they just kept fighting back. Game 6. This ain't even Game 7. The Rangers are up 3-2 in the series. You're in the bottom of the 9th, and you're down by 2 runs, first and second, with 2 outs, 1 strike left. And David Freese, obviously he's a nobody now. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a legend in St. Louis at that time. And it was literally Joe Buck calls it. I wish I had it, but Freese hits the ball to right field. And it's off the wall. Here comes Berkman. And then here comes Pujols. Freese has tied it in the 9th or whatever, what if it was just strike 3? Rangers win. That would change Lance Berkman's career. That would change Pujols' career. David Freese would never be a legend in St. Louis. And, Freese tied it that inning and then strikeout. It went to extras. Josh Hamilton homered in the top of the 10th, okay? He literally homered in the top of the 10th, and they were winning by 2 runs. What do the Cardinals do? They fight back. It's Berkman's turn. Berkman is down, Lance Berkman, down to his final strike, okay? Fouls it away. 8-7, I think. I think the score is 8-7. Runner at second. 2 outs. The pitch. Line drive base hit. Center field. Coming around third. I believe was Ryan Theriot at the shortstop. He scores. Game is tied. Lance Berkman. Okay? Now, he played for the Astros and the Cardinals. That guy was a legend, dude. That guy was a beast, dude. He didn't play for Cleveland, bro, but I respect that guy back in the 2010 era. Then, in the 11th inning, bottom of the 11th, David Freese finishes it. Freese hits the ball in the center field. We will see you tomorrow night. And Freese walks it off. They were down to their final strike in the 9th inning and the 10th inning of the season. The Cardinals would go on to win Game 7, okay, of the World Series. And let's take one more step back. Did you know that the Cardinals should not have been in the World Series or the playoffs anyway? The St. Louis Cardinals that year literally should have never been in the playoffs. They had one of the craziest situations in MLB history, and it happened. My friend told me the other day, I didn't know this until last week. Because I forgot, I was like 10 years old, 11 years old. Apparently, they had to win, I think, 4+ games in a row, and then the team lost in a row, and they qualified, and they made the playoffs. It's a wild card or a division, and then they went all the way. So what happens if, right? It's just crazy. And it's something that's crazy to think about. What happens if the Cleveland Browns never traded away Julio Jones? We literally had Julio in our back pocket, but we traded down and we expanded. They call it trade down for value or whatever. What if we would have taken, I enjoy Joe Thomas. It's probably one of our better picks, to be honest, in the last 20 years. But, what happens if we never picked Johnny Manziel? What if the Browns, pick Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? I love Baker Mayfield, but obviously I think Lamar is revolutionary. Now, we'll see what happens when he gets hurt and stuff, if it'll be career ending, because I'm sure he'll get hurt one of these days. I would rather have Baker for the long term, but short term, Lamar Jackson is really good. MVP, all that stuff, but one injury, he's done. So, in all reality, like I said, reflection, all these what-if moments, what life comes down to is, and also one thing that nobody realizes is, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, well, people do realize it, but don't say it enough. Do you know you being born was one of the hardest things ever? If not the hardest thing in the universe? Literally, you being born had so many obstacles to arise. Think about it. I mean, your parents, how did they meet? What if they didn't meet that second? You know, what if your parents met at the store, and your mother was going to the store, and she got a phone call. Oh, I'll be there in a second. She turns around. She never meets your dad at the store. What happens? I mean, I hate to say this, but what happens if your parents didn't have sex that night? Then you're not born. Okay? Because literally having sex on the 11th or the 12th of May might differentiate who the son is or the daughter or, other stuff. So, like I said, man, in all reality, you being born was so rare. Your grandparents had to meet at that very moment. And they had to have, sex. And they had to have, your mom or your dad at that moment. And then they had to meet. And then all these obstacles. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's really crazy to think about all these what if moments in life. And it fascinates me because it's something that, once a month, once every couple months, hell, once a year. It's always nice to sit back and just realize what life would be like for what if. What if Daniel Radcliffe never got Harry Potter? What if Emma Watson never got Harry Potter? Would their legacies change? Would they be a nobody? Would Emma Watson be working at Walmart if she never got that Harry Potter job? Because obviously that Harry Potter made her famous. Radcliffe made him famous, Harry Potter, right? Hermione Granger. What if they never got the job? Their legacy would change in the movie industry. All of these life-changing moments is kind of cool to think about here and there. But at the same point, we have to realize one thing. We can't sit here and think about the what ifs forever. We can't sit and cry all day. Maybe a family death, I get that. But besides that, I'm not going to sit there for 20 hours and say, what if the Browns never fumbled in 1986? Or what happens if we never drafted Johnny Manziel? Maybe an hour, maybe a half hour, max. But, with your friends, talk about it. But there really is no need to sit there for hours and hours, days, months. Get over it. Whatever happened, happened. And it happened for a reason. Now, whether you believe in God or fate, I believe in both, honestly. But whether it's God or fate, in all reality, things happen for a reason. And it's just like it happened. That's what someone had a great quote the other day. I live my life with no regrets. I don't blame them. You should live with no regrets. When you're living, every day here and there, you're living your daily life, you should be living it to not have regrets. When you're in the moment, really think, hey, Matt, you want to come with us? I might regret this. I'll go. Live life in a way where try your hardest because it's going to be inevitable to have a couple regrets. But try to live your life where you have zero to none or little to none regrets and little to few regrets. And it's just like, there's nothing we can do. And why I bring this up is my grandfather does it a lot. He'll always talk about what if he bought Apple stock back in 1980, 90, whatever, when it was like, dollars, $100. Now it's obviously, whatever. It's split 4-1, 2-1, whatever. And it's just like, you think about it, we can be here all day. It's not worth it. Like I said, things happen for a reason. Accept it. We got to move on. But like I said, hopefully, I don't know if you guys have a favorite what if moment, but if you do, please comment below. Like I said, I would probably say for my what if moment in my lifetime, I I don't really know. Well, mine's kind of personal. Teenage drama with dating and stuff. I'm not gonna say it just in case this person watches it. But I'm gonna go to sports now. With sports, I would say my biggest regret is probably not even my lifetime. It's the Cleveland Browns in 1986-87. Or whatever year it was. The Browns literally almost made 2 Super Bowls, and they should have, but then they fumbled on the 1 yard line, and then the other one was John Elway drove 98 yards. That's crazy. Maybe the Browns would have won a Super Bowl, and then our legacy changes. So it's just crazy to think about, All right, guys, take care. Adios. Hope this video helped, and it's always good to think about these things every now and then. Thank you.